Hello, fourth grade. In today's video, we are going to talk about long division. So the first thing I want to remind you about is the vocabulary. Now, I have written the same division problem 3 different times. You could see it written out this way using the division symbol. It could be written as a fraction, and remember, when that happens, we read from the top down, just like a book. You start at the top of the page when you're reading a book, and you read down. So start from the top and read down. 13 divided by 5. And then you can see it this way using what we call the division house. And remember, we said if it's on top of the fraction, it goes under the house. All right, so 13 divided by 5. The number that you are dividing up, in this case 13, is being divided up. 13 M&Ms, 13 cookies, $13. It could be anything, but whatever is being divided up is the dividend. All right, the number that you are dividing by, in this case the 5, we are dividing by 5, that is the divisor. So in your fraction, your numerator would be the dividend, and your denominator would be the divisor. And then written out this way, the number under the house is the dividend, and you are dividing by the divisor. Your answer to a division problem is the quotient. The answer is the quotient. You guys had to learn how to solve 2 digits divided by 1 and also 3 digits divided by 1. So this is the 2 different ways that we learn division in 4th grade. So now we're going to come down here and solve them using the standard algorithm, which is this way. And then I showed some of you guys were having trouble with the subtract bring down. And so we looked at doing it a different way. So I'll go back for those of you who need it this way. I'll go back and resolve it for you as well. All right, I have my multiplication table, which I'm not sure what happened to it. I think Braden got some spots on there. It'll still work. 13 divided by 5. So we're going to use our row of 5s. And the first thing I had you guys do was cover up the digit that you didn't need. We only took it 1 digit at a time. So we're going to look at this digit 1. And if we're using our 5s, we need to say how many 5s can I get out of 1? Or how many times will 5 go into 1? Or how many groups of 5 can I get out of 1? And when this number is smaller than the divisor, that is a 0. You can get no groups of 5 out of 1. When that happens, you can grab that second digit. And so now we're going to see how many groups of 5 we can make out of 13. So 1 group of 5 is 5. 2 groups of 5 is 10. 3 groups of 5 is 15. That's too many. So when that happens, you have to go back. And we're going to use the multiple 10. This is where I had you guys circle. And then I wanted you to come up and circle your number that goes in your quotient. And it should be in the same column as the multiple that you circled. So what this means is that we can get 2 groups of 5 out of 10. or 2 groups of 5 is 10, we can get 2 groups of 5 out of 13. So we can get 2 groups of 5 out of 13, and 2 groups of 5 is 10. And then we're ready to subtract. 13 subtract 10 is 3. So we have a remainder of 3 because we do not have another digit in the dividend that we can bring down. This is your leftover amount. It's the remainder. It's the part that is left over. So 13 divided by 5 has a quotient of 2 remainder 3. Solving it this way, we know that we can't get any groups of 5 out of 1. So that's a 0. So we have nothing to subtract from this 1. It was a 0. So there's still 1 left that we have to deal with. So this is just like grabbing that second digit. We're just going to put this 1 with the 3 to give us 13. And so now we're finished with that part. And we're going to see how many groups of 5 we can get out of 13. We were able to get 2 groups. 2 times 5 is 10, and that leaves 3. So it's 2 different ways to solve the same problem. This way just takes the subtract bring down out of the picture, which helped a lot of students this year. Some are able to see it this way, some are able to see it that way, and that's the good thing about math. There are many different avenues for division, for multiplication, for any kind of math problem. There's different avenues that will take you to the same answer. Now, we did learn how to check ourselves to see if we were correct. We're going to multiply 2 times 5. 2 times 5 equals 10, and then we have to add in the remainder, which gives us 13, which is the dividend. So if you when you go back and check, if you get the dividend or the total that you started out with, then you know you are correct. All right, now we're going to solve a 3-digit dividend divided by a 1-digit divisor. On your multiplication table, which you guys should have a dry erase table, or there's one that's just like this that's stuck to your multiplication pocket in your binder. You can use it. We're going to cover up these 2 digits right here that we don't need to look at yet. We're dividing by 6. So we're going to use this row of 6s. And how many groups of 6 can we get out of 2 if we have 2 M&Ms and I ask you to put them into groups of 6? Are you going to be able to make any groups? We don't have enough to make not even one group of 6, right? So this number is smaller than the divisor, so you put a 0. Then you grab the second digit. How many groups of 6 can we get out of 24? So 1 group of 6 is 6. 2 groups of 6 would be 12. 3 groups of 6 would be 18. 4 groups of 6 would be 24. That's exactly the number that we needed. So circle, circle. So the first digit in your quotient is going to be 4. And 4 groups of 6 is 24. 4 groups of 6 is 24. When you subtract 24, subtract 24, that's 0. And now we're ready to bring down this last digit. All right, are we going to be able to make any groups of 6 out of 2? We're back at this 2 again. No, you still have to put a 0 here. We have to take care of that place value. 0 times 6 is 0. Subtract, and you have a remainder of 2. So the quotient of 242 divided by 6 is 40 remainder 2. Remember, that is your quotient. All right, this way we can't get any groups of 6 out of 2. So we're going to push that 2 over here. 6 goes into 24 4 times, and 4 groups of 6 is 24. So there's nothing left to push into this box. 6 cannot go into 2. We can't get any groups of 6 out of 2. And so that leaves us with a remainder of 2. To check, we're going to multiply 40 times 6. Find your hidden fact, which is 6 times 4. That's 24. But we're not multiplying 6 times 4. It's 6 times 40. So we need to add on the 0. And then you have a remainder of 2 that we need to add on. And we get 242, which is the dividend. So that's how you can be sure that you have correctly solved your division problems. All right, a couple of word problems, and then we'll be done for today. All right, with division word problems, guys, you have to read the question carefully and make sure you are interpreting the remainder correctly. 4th and 5th grade, you have to know what to do with the remainder, whether you're going to ignore it, whether you need to use it to round up. Maybe you're only going to use the leftover part, the remainder itself. So just be careful. Pay attention to the questions. Mrs. H has rows of desks in her classroom. 4 students can sit in one row. So if this is a row, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 students can sit in one row. If 18 students want to come into Mrs. Henderson's class or her math classroom, how many full rows will there be? How many full rows? That's important. Full rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so Mrs. H has rows of desks in her classroom. For what? 4 students. That's your label. Can sit in one row. If 18 students want to come into Mrs. Henderson's math classroom, how many full rows will there be? Now, if you were to multiply 18 times 4, you'd get a number bigger than 18. That's not going to make sense. So also think about if you need a bigger number or a smaller one. So there's 18 students, and we're going to divide them by 4 because that's how many can go in each row. Can we get any groups of 4 out of 1? No. So when that happens, grab that second digit, 4 into 18 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be too many. That goes over 18. So 4 groups of 4 is 16. All right, so 18 divided by 4 is equal to 4 remainder 2, but we have to pay attention to the question. How many full rows will there be? We're going to ignore the remainder. There's only going to be 4 full rows. We have 2 students left over. How many more would we need to have another full row? You'd have to have 2 more students to have another full row. You know, if the question were to ask how many students were left over or how many students would not be in a full row, then you would use just the leftover part, just the remainder. All right, one more. Sometimes you have to round up to the next number. So 62 fourth graders are going on a field trip to the museum. They will travel by car. If each car holds 4 students, how many cars will be needed? So we have 62 fourth graders. They're going on a field trip to the museum. They're going to travel by car. Each car holds 4 students. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. How many cars will be needed? Hopefully we're not going to leave anybody behind and say you can't go to the museum because we don't have room for you. So this is one where we're going to have to round up to make sure we have enough cars to take all 62 of the fourth graders. So 62, and they're going to be traveling in groups of 4. So we're splitting that 62 into 4s. All right, how many groups of 4 can we get out of 6? So one group of 4 would be 4. 2 groups of 4 would be 8. That's too many. So it's one group of 4 is 4. 6 subtract 4 is 2. And we're going to bring down. So now we're going to divide up this 22. That's what's left out of the original 62 students. We have 22 left that we have to divide into groups of 4. All right, one group of 4 is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 6 times 4 is 24. That's too many. So it's 5 groups. 5 groups of 4 would be 20. Subtract, and you have a remainder of 2. So the quotient is 15 remainder 2. But let's answer the question, how many cars will be needed? If we take 15 cars, we're going to be leaving 2 students behind. So are we going to need 15 cars or 16? Yes, we are going to round up. We are going to need 16 cars. So division word problems, the most important part is just paying attention to the question that is being asked. Thanks for going back through division with me, guys. And I guess I will see you in tomorrow's video. Take care.